There is nothing I love more than going to the cinemas and watching an amazing movie with a large bag of popcorn mixed with Cadbury mini eggs and a large drink in my cup holder. Believe me, popcorn mixed with Cadbury mini eggs is a fantastic combination. Being invested in characters and immersed in another world where almost anything is possible with limitless story possibilities has always intrigued me. Me being the geek I am, I love going to summer blockbuster movies. Right now, the big thing is comic book movies. In fact, the comic book movie genre is stronger than it has ever been before. So when can we see video game movies in the spotlight? Hello everyone, it's RealMistry here, and welcome back to another video where I voice my opinion or speculate on something Halo related. And today I ask, can we see a Halo movie on the big screen? Alright, so I wanted to quickly preface, this video is my opinion, so please don't place this as fact. It's merely my opinion on the movie industry and direction it can go. I'm not a movie expert by any means, I'm just one very optimistic fan that has a love for movies and video games. As I mentioned before, the current big summer blockbuster movie craze is comic book movies. Some would say that comic book movies are oversaturating the movies industry. For example, this year alone, we have 6 comic book movies ranging from Batman v Superman to Doctor Strange. And don't even get me started on the TV universe. To this day, that has been unprecedented. Until next year. Others would say all movies are based off of comic books, remakes, sequels, or other material. There is just no original content out there. And to you I say, well, let's not go there. Now some of you may say, okay Mystery, what does this have to do with Halo? Well, for those of you that don't know, as of this recording, a little movie called Warcraft was released. If you don't know what Warcraft is, you'll be shocked to find out it's a movie based off of a popular video game called World of Warcraft. Or WoW for short. Because you know, our generation can't spell words that are more than 3 letters. It's before, not before. We speak English, not bingo! But I digress. So far, movies based off of video games have been cursed, to put it nicely. They don't do too well in the box office, and majority of the time, they don't satisfy fans or the regular movie-going audience. You know, those people that are not fans, but like to go watch movies? Yeah, those people exist. Although I have to admit, the Resident Evil franchise is a guilty pleasure of mine. I mean, it's so over the top and ridiculous, I just love turning off my brain and chomping on popcorn while watching those movies. And now I lost a lot of credibility. But it's a guilty pleasure, damn it! With the recent release of Warcraft hitting 2nd place in its opening weekend box office, and it receiving very mixed reviews at best, has the video game movie curse gone away? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet, nor am I from the future. Let's take a look at the numbers though. Warcraft had a film budget of $160 million, and to this recording its worldwide box office is at $304.7 million. It's made $144.7 million more than it took to make the movie, which means it was a good investment on Universal Studios' behalf. Alright, now let's take a look at what the audience thinks. It seems like the critics didn't particularly enjoy it, but the audience has enjoyed it thus far. Granted, it's been less than a week since the release of Warcraft, so we have to let it simmer. Heck, I wouldn't be too surprised if they announced Warcraft 2 is in development in the next few weeks. Them making this much money at the least gives them a second chance at creating a formula to making a good video game movie adaptation. So with all that said, can we see a Halo movie on the big screen? And my answer to that question is, yes! I strongly believe a Halo movie can come out in the cinemas. In fact, I really do believe video game movies will be the next big genre for the movies industry. And do you want to know who else knows video game movies will be the next big craze? The movie studios! I mean, think about this for a second. Comic book movies right now are in their prime. The regular movie-going audience is always excited for the next one. Before the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Nolan Trilogy, people didn't really care about comic book movies. Obviously, there were a few exceptions. But it wasn't really until Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins and the Marvel Studios Iron Man movie being released that put comic books on the map for the larger audience to enjoy. And that's because they found that formula to making an enjoyable comic book movie filled with great characters and story arcs for the audience to enjoy and feel invested in. After the release of the first Iron Man movie, we had The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and then the biggest hit of them all, The Avengers. And that's when the formula was perfected. At this point, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was flourishing into the juggernaut it is today. During this time, however, we also had titles like The Dark Knight Rises, and Watchmen. These movies were the flip side of the coin. They brought the much more gritty and realistic approach to the tone of their movies. With all that mixed, this is where the comic book movie genre really started to take a whole new stride. I mean, heck, at this point, after the release of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was, might I add, really scraping the bottom of the barrel, Marvel has proved once and for all we will more than likely go to see any movie with the Marvel logo stamped on it. Or at least assuming it's part of the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, the movies where the big purple guy shows up at the end and claims to do things by himself? Alright, Mystery, all I'm hearing is praise for the comic book movie genre. How does Halo fit in this puzzle? I'm still getting there. This is how it all connects. The Marvel Cinematic Universe and Christopher Nolan's trilogy of Batman movies proved to studios that superhero movies can be done and can be a huge success. Remember when I said, in fact, I really do believe video game movies will be the next big genre for the movies industry. And do you want to know who else knows video game movies will be the next big craze? The movie studios! I mean, think about this for a second. Comic book movies right now are in their prime. The regular movie-going audience is always excited for the next one. Well, what movie studios are waiting for is another studio to prove video game movies can be done to appeal to the larger movie-going audience and the video game fandom, while making an amazing story. And believe me, the content and story possibilities are right there for the picking. So Warcraft just came out, and we need to let it simmer. We also need to see if the movie has legs. How much money will it make in the box office overall? And what if it doesn't work out? Has all hope been lost? Well, no. Assassin's Creed is another movie with the potential to bring video game movies to life. Let's assume that Warcraft and Assassin's Creed blows our socks off and makes a lot of money from multiple viewings, kind of like what Avengers did. You can bet your right hand that you'll start seeing video game movies start being announced and start slowly trickling into theaters near you. Now, if you really do bet your right hand, you're crazy. I have no idea how you plan on playing video games or do other activities without it. Hammering, I'm talking about you know what? Forget it. There's an exception to all this. A Halo movie has the potential to be that Batman Begins or Iron Man for the video game movie genre, but at this point, it's a big gamble for the studios. Video game fans have to take into consideration that just like comic book fans, we are a minority. When going to go watch video game movies, you have to look at the big picture here, pun intended. Sure, you and all your friends are all excited and willing to go watch a movie based off your favorite video game title, but we are the 1, maybe even 5% of the audience at best. I have had this argument with many fans, and they don't like it when I say this, but it's true. A feature film based on a video game title cannot be the exact same story as the story in the campaign. Feature films are merely just adaptations of popular material or storylines. Look at Captain America Civil War as an example. The Civil War comic book had almost all of the heroes in comic books involved, whereas the movie had 12 at most. The Civil War movie did not have an exact rendition of the Stanford incident. Instead, they had an equivalent that fit with the story and character arcs of the characters in the movies, thus not making it too confusing to the regular movie-going audience. Just imagine how confused the audience would be if they suddenly added like 50 more heroes to the mix. Where do they come from? Why do we care? The Civil War movie had the Sokovia Accords, whereas the comic book movie had the Superhero Registration Act. Think about it. Majority of the world knows that Tony Stark is Iron Man and Steve Rogers is Captain America. Long story short, the Superhero Registration Act forced all heroes to give up their secret identities. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that does not really matter because everyone knows the identities of the Avengers. So why would we, as an audience, care if that was put into the movie? Instead, with the Sokovia Accords, again, long story short, the government has control over when the Avengers are allowed to go out and do their avenging. Which, given the previous movies, makes a lot more sense to the audience. I can name so many more things, but I won't, because we will be getting into spoiler territories, and as much as I love talking about this, I don't want to ruin the movie for anyone else. But what I'm trying to boil down to is a feature film does not copy or do word for word what a book or comic book does. They make their own iteration or adaptation of a popular story, and make it fit with the story they're trying to tell, while appealing to the larger movie-going audience. With all that said and out of the way, how exactly can we make a popular Halo movie? Well, luckily, the Halo universe has a large plethora of content to divulge in. The Halo universe can be a cinematic universe on its own, theoretically. I'm drooling over all the potential storylines we can see unfold on the big screen. Think about it. At this point, if we can make superheroes, talking trees, talking animals, and orcs believable, why can't we make the grunts, jackals, or elites believable on the big screen? Well, with current motion capture technology, we can. Blur Studios has proven time and time again we can animate and motion capture almost anything. Just look at how believable and how beautiful the Halo 2 anniversary cutscenes are. If the studios don't believe the technology is there yet, well, we are really darn close. So bring it back to the question at hand. Can we see a Halo movie on the big screen? Yes, we can, but not quite yet. It could still be another few more years before a big screen Halo movie is announced again. I say again because the movie District 9 was supposed to be the Halo movie. But at this point, the technology is almost there to make a believable Halo movie, and we're waiting for a studio to prove video game movies can make for great movies and great profit, or at least show the formula to making a good video game movie. Because who doesn't want to see a 7-foot super soldier try to stop the Covenant from pushing the on button to a ring in outer space that is designed to destroy every species in the galaxy to starve the Flood and stop the infection from spreading and destroying the entire galaxy? Man, that was a really long run-on sentence. Regardless, Halo has the potential, but it's too big of a gamble for the studios at the moment. The flip side of that is a Halo movie could be the movie to jumpstart the video game movie genre, and I would be so proud as a Halo fan for something like this to happen. The way I see it is a Halo movie franchise has the potential to be a Star Wars equivalent, minus all of its nostalgia because we are talking generations worth of Star Wars movies here. The Master Chief and supporting characters from the Halo franchise are strong enough characters to be able to carry a story, and the time will come. Just be patient. I, as a Halo fan, are in those trenches like you, waiting for that day where I can walk out of the movie and say, "Damn, that was an amazing movie! Let's go and watch that again!" A good place to start would be to create an adaptation of the Fall of Reach book, or Contact Harvest. But that is opening another can of worms, and I can continue that conversation in another video. Alright, so that wraps up my opinion on if we can see a Halo movie on the big screen. Chime into the comment section below and let me know what you think. What story would you like to see adapted on the big screen? If you enjoy this content, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more. If you don't like it, then simply dislike the video. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until next time.